Okay, welcome back. Now we are going to add additional features to our base rectangle that we made in the previous tutorial. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to make the traffic lights shield, the two holes for the LEDs, and then we're going to make copies of them down. So we put all our work into one light cover and extruded holes. And it's like copying and pasting. And that way we will end up with all three, but put all our work into one. Okay, so to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to start with an extruded boss base. Like mentioned before, you never start at the sketch level unless all you wanted was a two-dimensional sketch. We're going to click on the extruded boss. This time it doesn't show us planes. It expects us to pick some part of our part. So we're going to choose the front plane. Now when we start sketching on here, we want to choose the front plane so we're looking on it straight on. So if you don't have this toolbar, what you need to do is when you right click up here, you will then see this menu come down, and the one you want to click is standard views. So if you click that, you will end up with this toolbar here. So I'm going to click the front, so I'm looking on it straight on. Now I'm going to be using a center line as a construction line. So I have to click here for the drop down menu because the default is the line, but I want to use the center line. So I click here, drop down menu, and I'm going to select center line. With that active, I am now in the sketch. I am going to go over here to the, because we created the part at the origin, we now have the origin of our XY axis here in the middle of our part. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to drag up to about here. Again, I am sketching. I don't care about the dimensions. I'm going to make it look close to what I want it to be. I will then use the smart dimension to actually change this to be the dimension I want. You'll notice that after I click that, it wants to do another one. I can hit the escape key to terminate, or I can just go over here and I'm going to select a circle, not the perimeter circle, but the circle. And now by doing that, I've switched from the lines to a circle. And what I want to do is I want to click here and then move my mouse out to create a circle centered on the end of the center line. So I click there, go out, and again, I am just sketching, so I'm going to drop a circle. Now I'm going to hit Smart Dimension, and when I hover it over the circle and it's orange, I'm going to click and drag to the right, at which point I want my circle to be 1.5 inches. It's 1.5. You can't see it here, but it's 1.5, and then inches. Then I'm going to click the check box. Now I'm going to hover my cursor over the center line. I do not want to touch the green boxes or any of these other special marks. I hover over. When it's highlighted, I click, drag over to the left this time. I want also 1.5 inches. For my center line. Click the check box. Here I have this. Now I'm going to close out the dimension now. I am not going to exit the sketch at this point because I want to extrude this out as a donut. To do that, I'm going to use the offset entities right here. For those that have done the pressure plate tutorial, which you need to do if you haven't, it shows how to use the offset entity so you make a donut instead of just a solid extrusion. So start by clicking offset entity. We are then going to click the circle. You'll notice the yellow is on the outside. I want the dimension, the thickness of my extrusion to be 0.125 inches. Hit enter. You can see the thickness is going to be 0.125 inches, which is 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to click on the reverse until we get a check mark under reverse. So I'm clicking the reverse. Now I got a check mark. You notice the yellow is now not out here but inside. This is needed for you to extrude a donut out. After I've done that, I click on the check mark and I am okay. I've completed the offset entity. Now I'm going to exit the sketch, and it says how far out do you want to extrude. I want to go out 0.75 inches. See? 0.75 inches. If I hit enter, and if I press down the middle mouse key close over here and move it, you can see that it's coming out there. Then I hit the check mark to confirm. So now I have this extruded donut. But what I want to do is I want to cut some of this out so that the rainwater won't trap here, it'll fall down in the real life. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the front view and we're going to do an extruded cut right here. It's in the Features tab. So we're going to click Extruded Cut. It says, what do you want to cut? I don't want to cut on the rectangle. I want to cut on this plane. So I don't want to select the line. I want to select between the two lines. They're both orange. That's where my cut is going to start. And then go down. So then I'm in the sketch, I'm going to select the circle. And then as I zoom in here, and you zoom wherever your cursor is, so the middle scroll bar. You notice when you hover over the circle, you get these yellow dots around here. Now I'm going to go over this dot here and go up to the middle point and click and drop a circle. So I went over here, moved up here, clicked, and then made this circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to smart dimension that circle, and I want it to be 1 inch. 1 units inch. Check. Now I'm going to close out of the dimension and exit the sketch, and it says how far do you want to extrude cut. Now because we just extruded 0.75 out, it remembers the last thing we did. So in this case we want to go 0.75 the other way. So we leave it there and we just click the check mark. And if you click away and you use the middle mouse button, you can see we have our horseshoe. We're going to go back up to the front here and we're going to save. You always want, when you do something, you want to click the save button. This is not the cloud that saves for you. Now, we want to put 2 cuts in here. We're going to start with 1 cut, and then to do that, we're going to click the extruded cut. We want this time the rectangle, so anything on the rectangle we do not want to select the horseshoe. So now I'm going to put in a center line, but I'm going to zoom in on the horseshoe because I'm not going to be using that axis. So I'm going to zoom in on the horseshoe. I'm going to use my center line. Now I'm going to hover over this circle. When I do so, you notice that you get these yellow dots around here, and you also get the center. So I'm going to start my center line here. So with my center line selected, I'm going to hover, and then I'm going to go over the plus, click, and drop a center line there. I am then going to select my circle. Sounds familiar, huh? I'm going to put it at the top of my center line. I am then going to Smart Dimension. This circle is already selected, so I am just going to go and drag that. And I want my circle to be 0.0625 inches. 0.0625 inches. That is 1/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to click the check mark. You'll notice it's tiny. This is for one of the leads of our diodes. Now I'm going to click my center line. I want it also to be 0.0625 inches. So we have our hole a 1/16 of an inch above this middle of the horseshoe. I am then going to say exit sketch, and it says, well, where do you want to go? I want to select through all. And this way it'll go all the way through. So instead of blind, I'm going through all. Then I say, okay. Now, if I click off, you will see the hole goes all the way through. Let me zoom back out here a little bit. You see it goes all the way to the back. Once you've got all this and it's all funky and you want to get back, you just go up here and click Trimetric. That's why this toolbar is very important. Now, I'm going to click the front view, and I notice I have one hole and I want to do another. Now, I'm not going to go through and do an extruded cut because that's a lot of steps. If I have something I want to copy it, the way you can do it is with this linear pattern right here. So I'm going to click linear pattern, and then it wants to know by this blue box what direction you want to go in. So we're going to click on one of these vertical edges. I'm going to just click that one. You will notice the direction is down, which we want. If it was up, we would have to click here to change the direction. Okay? So our edge 1 right there is the right direction. We're not doing direction 2. Then under Features and Faces, you want to click it so that it is blue, ready to receive input. So what we're going to do is up here, this is called a flyout. Now it's in the minimal position. We want to click on this to expand all the items that are in it. So by clicking it, this has all of the features in our property tree that we've made. And we're going to use these selections for our feature facers instead of clicking out here. So we're going to click on the cut, and you can see it says cut extrude 2. Now the pattern number here is 3, we want 2. And this right here is so we want 2. We're going to use these up and down arrows to do that, and then we want this to be 0.1 0.125. We're not going to use these, we're going to type it in. And then so we want to select it 0.125 inches. That is 1/8 of an inch. So if I am, and hit enter. So what was happening here is this hole is a 1/16 of an inch above this line, and I want it to be it's in a 1/16 of an inch on the other side. So a 1/16 here and a 1/16 here is 2/16, which is 1/8, which is 0.125, which is what we're putting in here. Then we say OK, and we notice that now we have the other hole. Now we have one completed horseshoe. Then we're going to go trimetric, and we're going to hit the save button. Now, instead of making the horseshoe and these holes in this again, we are going to do a linear pattern on all three of these objects to go down to make our life easier. So we're going to start with the linear pattern again. We need to know the direction. I could pick this edge as well. Now you notice that the arrow is going up. I don't want to go up. I want my pattern to go down. So I have to click in this box under direction 1 to make it switch directions. So I will click in there, and now you notice the arrow is going down. Now we're going to click on features and faces. It has the linear pattern we did before. We're then going to add the extruded cut and 1 and 2 and the boss. Okay, so you notice those 4 features are in the faces. So when you select things here, they're added when we have this highlighted and active, transfers these into our features and faces for us. We now want to go up to these areas here. We want to make that a 3, and we want to make this 1.5 inches. Using the arrows up, it's 3. Now you can tell when you click on this up arrow, it increases these in small increments, and you can see the pattern moving over here on the object. But we want to be 1.5 inches. Enter. So we want this, and then we get this pattern here repeated 2 times down there, right? And then we're going to click the OK, and we now have all of the top lights. So then what we're going to do is hit save and trimetric display, and this ends this tutorial on the traffic light top lights.